Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Questions and Answers. Today is Sunday, September. I wish it was Saturday. Sunday, September the 29th. As we wind down September, we've got another edition of our Questions and Answers show here for you today. I decided to do this one live. We're going to schedule the next one, but I'm just going to decide just to jump on a live one today and see how this one goes. I actually have some questions I'm going to tackle from next week, and then we'll take some of your questions today, hopefully squeeze in about a half hour or 40 minutes or so. So let's get started, shall we? So our first question is from Arnaud B. He's got two questions. First question is about Return to Forever. Among the solo output of the four members of the band, I think that the Lenny White catalog is maybe the most underrated and neglected. For example, albums like Venusian Summer or The Adventures of Astral Pirates. What's your take on it? Well, I mean, you got some great solo albums from Dimiola and Stanley Clarke and Lenny White, obviously, and we all know Chick Corea's catalog, right? I would say definitely of the three, not counting Chick, that Lenny White's is definitely the most underrated and neglected. I will tell you, those two you mentioned and some of the later, more kind of funky ones are kick-ass. I mean, if you like Blistering Fusion, like RTF, Lenny's first couple are right along those lines, and I dig all of his solo albums, especially from the kind of like the 70s and the early 80s, all really good stuff. Even the more funky ones are really, really good. But again, I'm a big fan of Dimiola's, and I think Stanley Clarke's early solo albums are just killer. So, some great stuff. Probably some of the best solo material from members of a classic fusion band ever. And Arnaud's second question is, what about doing a show about your top 20 or 25 favorite instrumentals of all time? I like that question so much that I actually have it down on my sheet to do at a later date. So I dig that quite a bit. From Caspar Bylock, great show again, Pete. I got a question. We both like Deep Purple, and it's a little windy out here today, so you guys are going to hear a little wind. We both like Deep Purple, and we both like Whitesnake, but what about the Coverdale stuff in between, especially the North Winds album? For me, this is one of the best, if not the best, Coverdale album ever made. What's your take on this album? I dig it. I dig it. It's kind of like the seeds of what became Whitesnake, with a little of that kind of like R&B soul thing, bluesy thing that Coverdale really enjoyed making at the time. Breakdown is a great tune. Keep on Giving Me Love, I dig quite a bit. Queen of Hearts is excellent. Give Me Kindness is also good. It's a solid album. From H Ship. Hi, Pete, new subscriber. Really enjoy the channel and your positive attitude toward what this channel does, giving us a chance to visit our rock favorites and sample the latest. I have been jotting down some bands, albums from the 70s I'm not familiar with. Anyway, I've not heard you mention Head East. They finally released the Head East live album a few years ago. I wonder if you were familiar with this double live LP single CD. I'm familiar with it. I don't have it. All I have by Head East is Flat as a Pancake and A Different Kind of Crazy on CD. But I have added the live album to my cart on Amazon, so I should be getting it pretty soon. What else we got here? Stephen St. Pierre. Pete, what do you think of the band the Amboy Dukes, and how about Tangerine Dream? I like the Amboy Dukes. I'm a Nugent fan. I like the early Amboy Duke stuff. Sorry, that's what happens when you get asked multiple questions in one. The early Amboy Duke stuff's kind of psychedelic, right? Kind of cool for its time. A lot of good guitar work from an early guitar hero there. I even like the later Amboy Duke stuff because that was kind of the precursor to Nugent's solo career, right? And those last couple of Amboy Dukes albums are basically like, Nugent solo albums, but really cool. And I like all those albums are really different from each other, which I think is kind of neat. So good band. As far as Tangerine Dream, I mean, you can't beat that early stuff, man. That's just like some of the best mood music ever. I just love the kind of creepiness and the atmosphere and just all the, mellotrons and synth modulators and all that kind of stuff, man. Just those early Tangerine Dream albums are fantastic. From David Bella. Pete, I was wondering if any of your coworkers ever accidentally stumbled onto your YouTube page, and if so, were they shocked from seeing that side of you? Or are any of your coworkers big music fans and debate with you? Okay, yeah, this is actually funny because about a year ago, maybe a little more than a year ago, I got a new boss at work, and we had like a team meeting, right, offsite team meeting. And one of the tasks that he asked us to do was to write, put together a little kind of 1 minute summation of what we're all about, right? as far as, work interest, outside of work interest, what we're passionate about, all that kind of stuff. And in it, I mentioned this, the website and the YouTube show. And my boss actually, so what he was doing is, as we were going around the room, I did mine, and he's like, wait, what? And as I was talking, he went and Googled me and found this channel and the website. He goes, this is the coolest thing ever. And then he stumbled upon, I think I did a show on the Scorpions or something like that. He goes, holy cow, the Scorpions. I love the old Scorpion stuff. So it was actually really, really cool. But most people don't find me telling them. It comes up in conversation. They're all very surprised because, here you have a real music lover, music guy, music geek working for a tech company, right? So it's whatever, it works. From Raymond Kaiser, Pete, can you address the issue of why you think Woodstock 50 never took place and what your feelings regarding this failure are? Well, the reason, Raymond, why it never took place and it failed is because it never should have even been discussed in the first place. I'm a firm believer in Woodstock. The original was legendary for a reason. It happened and was successful and notable because of the time period that it occurred. All right. You can't capture that in 2019. You just can't. Times are so different. People are so different, right? That kind of peace and love and love of music and forgetting about everything else and just being together. Nobody cares about that anymore. So Woodstock 19 would have been a money-making scheme, and would have brought together all these. I mean, let's face it, if you saw the band lists that they had set up, supposedly, you had all sorts of genres that had nothing to do with each other, and would have brought a lot of people from, different likes and interests and nationalities and genders and ages. And I don't think it would have worked because that shit just doesn't work in 2019, right? You see how people get along out there, right? In the world today, who have different opinions on things and different interests. We're living in a me society. I don't think it would have worked. I think it would have been a fucking disaster, in my honest opinion. Excuse my language, but I'm glad it didn't happen. It should not have happened. They never even should have discussed it. You know what? Leave Woodstock. Just leave it alone. It's one thing to remember it every year on the date, or whatever, but to try and plan another festival that's going to recreate what happened back then, it's never going to happen. Never going to happen. From Cockney Red, Pete, another good show. A question for you. Do you listen to other genres like country, soul, funk, reggae, punk, electronica, new wave, jazz, even classical? I listen to and love plenty from each of those genres, with classic soul alongside classic rock for me. I like to think that all music is enmeshed and it influences everyone, like the Stones and the Beatles. Obviously love Motown, and Stevie Wonder's a big fan of Eddie Van Halen, and there are plenty of other examples of artist crossovers. Do you ever listen to a completely different type of music from your usual favorite, metal, hard rock, et cetera, et cetera? Well, I mean, if Cockney Red, if you've been watching the show for all these years, I listen to a lot of different stuff. Metal and hard rock and progressive rock are my favorites, obviously, but I listen to a lot of classic rock. I listen to a ton of jazz. I love jazz fusion and old-time jazz, right? I like some of the smooth jazz stuff. I listen to blues, okay? Occasionally, we'll listen to a little bit of funk or electronica, not a lot. My wife likes a lot of the newer country stuff. I listen to that. She's Puerto Rican, so she's big into Latino music and salsa and merengue and that kind of stuff. I dig that stuff. So I listen to, all sorts of stuff, and I can appreciate all sorts of stuff. I don't like rap. I don't like hip hop. Those are probably the two styles that I really do not like at all. But I can usually get into just about anything. I'm not crazy about dance music, or some of the stuff they call modern pop nowadays. But, I like a lot of the 50s music. Okay. I like a lot of 70s pop. I love 70s pop. So I dig a lot of stuff. All right. Obviously my favorites is, heavy metal and hard rock and prog are my favorites, but, jazz right behind it. But I dig a lot of stuff. From Jeffrey Kelly. Hi, Pete. Enjoyed your review of the King Crimson show at Radio City Music Hall. It was awesome. I still can't stop thinking about it. That's how good it was. My question is, which currently available King Crimson live album would you recommend that best covers the shows you attended at the Egg and Radio City Music Hall? Cheers, from Jeffrey. Well, of the ones that are officially released, if you want to capture the spirit of what's been going on with King Crimson on the road the last 2-3 years, you got to get Live in Vienna, and more recently Live in Chicago. That's going to give you a great snapshot of kind of what they're doing out on tour right now. The set lists are going to vary a little bit, but that's the current band, and they're dynamite, okay? And a lot of old stuff they're playing. From Terry Rain, great show, Pete. I am a 61-year-old music lover, all types. Tell us a little bit about your background. Were you in the music business at some point? Haven't seen too many people as knowledgeable as you are in all things rock. The only other guy I listen to regularly for music news and such is Eddie Trunk. Well, we did a a video about 6 or 8 months ago called The History of Sea of Tranquility, and there I talk a lot about my background and how we got here. But I've basically been, sort of in the music industry somewhat, doing this thing called Sea of Tranquility. And I did some things before then since the late 90s. And we've had the Sea of Tranquility website since 2001. We've been on, YouTube here for 5 years. We just celebrated our 5-year anniversary. So I have been working with record labels, working with bands, working with public relation firms and promotional firms and all that kind of stuff, for almost 20 years. Actually, it's probably over 20 years at this point. So I know a lot of people in the industry. I've worked with and become friendly with a lot of folks who are, musicians and in bands and very notable bands and stuff like that. So yeah, I've kind of been around the industry for a long time, doing our thing, building up our name here. And it's been a great ride. So, but yeah, watch that show because that'll kind of give you more in depth of kind of everything I've done step by step all throughout this long, fun ride. From Fred Hamilton. Hi, Pete. I thought it was cool that you mentioned Savage's Loose and Lethal as a favorite obscure 80s metal album of yours. What I've noticed is that more than just about any album I own, it demands to be played at ridiculously high volume. Yeah. Maybe it's the raw production or the style they play. It just kills. Are there any records in your collection that you have the same reaction to? Ones that are going to be cranked to 10 on the stereo as soon as you grab them off the shelf? Do these albums have anything in common with each other? Well, there's certain that came to mind that whenever I play, and I've probably listened to them hundreds of times each, I crank them as high as they can go, whether it's in the car or whatever. The first Montrose album, that's got to be cranked. Heaven and Hell by Black Sabbath. Something about that album just screams volume. Deep Purple's In Rock. That just gets me going. Got to turn it way up. Judas Priest, Stained Class. Got to be played loud. Gary Moore's Corridors of Power. Okay, Marching Out by Yngwie Malmsteen. God, I just love cranking these albums. Opeth, Blackwater Park. Metallica's And Justice for All. Screams for volume. All right. Taking Over by Overkill. All right. Jethro Tull, Minstrel in the Gallery. I know there's just certain albums that just, when I play them, I tend to play them really loud. Just something about them just screams volume. But as you can see, a lot of those have nothing to do with each other, right? It's just, some albums have struck a chord with you in your life, and they're made to be played loud. Who knows? From Jose Marcial. Hi, Pete. I went to a Christian college in the mid-'80s when we were discouraged from listening to secular music, let alone rock. Having grown up on the same music as yourself, I said, what am I going to do now? Needless to say, I was introduced to Christian heavy rock and metal, which I didn't even know existed. Just wondering what your thoughts were on this genre, since I hardly ever see it discussed. I was just wondering if it's maybe preachiness may have been a turnoff. There were many excellent Christian metal bands in the 80s, mainly Resurrection Band, Daniel Band, Barren Cross, etc. Just curious if you're ever exposed to listen to any of this stuff. Very little. All right, very little. I mean, the Daniel Band I like. They're really good. They got some good crunchy songs, and I dig them. The Neil Morse Band, or Neil Morse Solo, I should say. Neil Morse, formerly of Spock's Beard. Obviously, he's a Christian artist now, and I love his music. The lyrics, kind of a little preachy to me, but I tend not to pay too much attention to lyrics anyway. So, but for the most part, I've never really listened to much Christian rock or metal in my life, just because I've just never heard much about any of it, and I've never, nobody really talks about it, like you said, not advertised a lot. So, but I know there's plenty of bands, doing that sort of thing. From Walter Gill, however you say your last name. Walter, just got finished watching this week's questions and answers show, and you've piqued my interest with a few of those topics and some of the questions from your fans. Like the first topic from Tom was asking about a live album or show that you just recently done between Rainbows on Stage and the Scorpions Tokyo Tapes. And your guest, Chris Allo, was saying how he liked the latter over the other due to the lack of extended jams and solos in the live album. My questions are, do you really like those epic jams and solos, and what's your favorite one that you ever had heard either on those two live albums or on any other live album? And my other topic or question is about Dream Theater, and it's more of a challenge for you that you like them as much as I do. And so I would love you to pick your top 5 Dream Theater studio albums that you think are the best in your opinion. I have a new live album for you by Sons of Apollo, and one of the highlights from is their cover of Pink Floyd's Come Flew Me Numb, and it's amazing. Hope to hear from you soon. Yeah, I don't have that Sons of Apollo live album yet. I heard it's quite good. As far as the live albums and jams, I dig a lot of long jams, right? It's, come on. Allman Brothers Live at the Fillmore, Whipping Post, In Memory of Elizabeth Reed, I love that shit. Love it. right? Just dig it. Richie Blackmore on Deep Purple's Made in Japan. Space Truckin' and that extended solo in Childhood Time. Totally dig it. John Lord going nuts on the Hammond organ. Blackmore also on Deep Purple's Made in Europe. Okay. Some great jams on there. On You Fool No One. Love it. I made a comment the other day on that 10 Years After recorded live album that I think that album had too many jams. The problem is that a lot of small jams and a lot of just jams that don't really go anywhere for me. That's why I love that album and I like a lot of tunes on there, but that album needed some more songs and less jams, right? That's I think where I'm coming with this. That's why a band like Government Mule, call them Southern rock, call them hard rock or jam, whatever you want. They do a lot of jamming, but they do it all within the confines of excellent songs. Okay, so I don't mind that. I don't mind taking great tunes and stretching them out 5-10 minutes and having jams in the songs. I just don't like one jam after another that aren't really songs. Okay, I don't. I love guitar solos and all that kind of stuff, and I don't mind a little bit of that, but I don't like when half an album is filled up with that. If that makes any sense. On that Rainbow on Stage, I dig that album a lot, and I like Blackmore's solo and stuff like that, especially his fiery solo, after Man on Silver Mountain. But the bluesy slow solo, it's okay. Went on a little long, but Fly to the Rainbow on Tokyo Tapes, Uli at the end, just going berserk with the whammy bar and the feedback and all that. Love it, dig it. A lot of those old Zeppelin live albums had a lot of cool jamming on it. The Who live albums from back in the day, where they would do like a 15-minute version of My Generation with all sorts of cool jamming and things like that. I dig it. As far as Dream Theater, my favorite Dream Theater albums, all right? Scenes from a Memory, Images and Words, Train of Thought, Awake, and 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence are my 5 favorites, but I like them all. I'm a big Dream Theater fan. Raymond Kaiser's back at it again. Pete, since you've been rating live albums, I wanted to ask you a question about them. Since so many of them have been doctored or touched up in the studios, how do you feel about fan-made live recordings or bootlegs? Yes, I realize that some have inferior quality to them, but they can also capture the performance and ambiance of the artist, mistakes and all. Can you provide your opinion on actual true live recordings and how you feel about bootlegs that provide a real concert experience for all to enjoy? I am all for hearing the performance of the band as they played it that night. I'm totally for that, mistakes and all. What I don't like are live recordings or live bootlegs that sound like they were recorded from a phone or a tape recorder in someone's pocket. Okay, if I can hear the performance and it sounds crystal clear, I don't give a crap that they made a couple mistakes here and there. That does not bother me because you know what? That happens. We're all human. So I have no issue with fan-recorded live performances that have decent sound and you get the band as they played it that night. And that's why I purchased some bootlegs here and there over the years, and I usually go for the ones that I know have pretty supreme sound or close enough to it. Okay, so I don't have an issue with that. A lot of the commercially released live albums, they've all been doctored up a little bit. They want it to be perfect, and I get that, and I'm fine with it. But I also don't mind hearing a fan-recorded boot or an official boot or whatever you have that's got some mistakes in it, because it's going to happen, right? Like I said, as long as it sounds decent to me and it's not, all fuzzy and distorted and drops in and drops out, as long as I can listen to it and get enjoyment out of it, I'm okay with it. From Manny Boy Walker. Hey, Pete, what is your favorite album from the Tony Martin era of Black Sabbath? And do you think that by the time he joined the band that Iommi was trying just a little too hard and should have laid the band to rest? No, I don't think so. I was all for Iommi keeping it going, and I think that the Tony Martin era recorded some excellent music. My favorite album is Headless Cross. I love Headless Cross. I like, with the exception of Forbidden, which I'm not a fan of, I like all the Tony Martin led albums. Headless Cross is my favorite. Tear is very good. Eternal Idol is very good. Those are the 3 best in my opinion. Okay. Crown of Thorns, pretty good. But I just think Headless Cross is a great album. From Tom Ostrander. Pete, did you ever go to a concert to see the headliner, but one of the opening acts that you may not have known much about blew you away? For me, I went to see Journey and a band called Van Halen open for them. Their first album had just come out. I bought it the next day. A couple, and there's probably more, but off the top of my head, I saw Saxon open for Triumph, and I really didn't know anything about Saxon, and they blew me away. Triumph were excellent that night. It was my first time seeing Triumph, but I thought Saxon were just as good. My first official concert ever was Ozzy Osbourne, the beginning of the Blizzard of Oz tour, and I saw a band called Motorhead open up that I knew nothing about. And I wouldn't say that I loved them, because they were like unlike anything I'd ever heard at the time, and they were so freaking loud. But I was impressed. Okay. And I've been listening to Motorhead ever since. And another early one, the first time I saw REO Speedwagon on the High Infidelity Tour, I saw a little band called the Rockets open up. And I thought they were really damn good. Okay? Really damn good. I also saw Rory Gallagher open up for Rush. And while I thought it was an odd pairing, he was very, very good, obviously. Although at the time I really wasn't, I didn't know a lot about Rory Gallagher other than I heard of him. And I wasn't a huge blues guy, although I was listening to Trower and Hendrix and stuff like that. But I was impressed. So there's probably more, but those are the ones that come to mind, like early on anyway. From Jamie Laszlo, I have quite a few T-shirts dedicated to rock bands. By the way, I got more responses on my Budgie shirt from last week's show than I've ever on any shirt that I've ever worn. So I figured I'd wear another Budgie shirt. I got 3 of them. I wore another one today just for you guys, right? Hope you like it. All right, let's get back to Jamie's question. I have quite a few T-shirts dedicated to rock bands, movies, and comic books, and I find it very difficult to find the space to store them. Since my dresser in the bedroom is overflowing, I decided to store more in the space in my spare bedroom's dresser. But now that one is overflowing as well. My wife complains about it at least once a week. I don't want to hang them because they might stretch out. I'm getting to the point where I need an extra room just to store my damn shirts. So the question is, how do you store all of yours? Yeah, it's an issue, dude. Between all my band shirts and my comic book shirts, it's like out of control. Out of control. In fact, I should start hanging mine because I'm running in room and drawers. I've got like a dresser in the bedroom that is just, I think I have this three drawers stocked with band shirts, and they all have to be alphabetical by band, otherwise I never find them. And then I've got like a plastic little dresser, cheap thing with drawers I put together that is stocked with them. And then I have a bin that's bursting with comic book shirts up on a shelf. I'm at the point where I think I might have to start hanging them because I don't know where else to put these things. And a lot of times I can't fold them as the plane goes overhead. A lot of times I can't fold them normally because I can't fit anymore. So what I do is I fold them and I roll them up into something like shaped like this. And I just kind of lay them in like that. But then you can't really see what each one is. So it's a pain in the ass, dude. It's a pain. But I keep buying them. I'm addicted. What can I tell you? And my last question from last week is Lonnie V. Here's an off-kilter question for you. Since on your live album wars, you always use the boxing analogy to rate and grade both releases. Who are your favorite boxers of all time? Mine are, of course, Muhammad Ali, both Sugar Rays, Robinson and Leonard, Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis. After them, I kind of lost interest in the sport. Your videos rule. Thank you, Pete. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. My favorite boxers of all time, Sugar Ray Leonard. Loved him to death when I was a kid, man. He was my idol when I was growing up. Also from the same time period, Marvin Hagler, great middleweight champion. Loved him. Evander Holyfield, one of my favorite heavyweights of all time. Just such a classy guy who just fought his heart out all the time. So many great wars. I loved Mike Tyson early on when he was just coming up. I think Mike just kind of lost his way and just kind of became not a good guy at some point, probably because he was being influenced by too many people and the drugs and the alcohol, whatever. But I've loved Tyson early on. Who else? More recent, Muhammad Ali, of course. When I started watching boxing, Muhammad Ali was towards the tail end of his career, but I always loved him, and I love watching all his old fights, man. What a great guy. Great boxer. Ernie Shavers from the old days, another great older heavyweight from the day. I loved watching his knockouts. But more recently, and I watch boxing a lot. I'm a big boxing fan still to this day. I love current heavyweight champion Deontay Wilder. I'm a huge Manny Pacquiao fan. I've been watching Manny Pacquiao fights for a long time, most of his career. Triple G, Gennady Golovkin, I'm a big fan of his too. So there you have it. So those are our questions for today. Let's see if we can get in. Let's see who we go. Oh my God, we got so many people here. And we're not going to do this too much longer, guys, because next week we're going to do all questions live. So do me a favor, don't put any more questions in the comments because I'm not going to be looking at them going forward. We're going to be doing them live. We're going to do roughly half-hour shows, so we'll get to as many as we can. So who do we got here? Let's see. The Raven Effect. Hey, Pete, looks nice and sunny there. It's a beautiful day. Not a cloud in the sky, little breeze. It's probably like maybe 70 degrees. I don't know exactly. Probably something like that. What does my phone say? Probably something like that. What do we got here? From Eric 035 from Caspar. Hey, Pete, what's going on? Gear Lads in the house. Coverdale Page, I like quite a bit. Yeah, I dig the Coverdale Page album a lot. I was a big fan. I was kind of disappointed that they didn't go further with that. From BM Bolt, hey, Pete, the live Head East is great. Cool. Well, like I said, I got it in my Amazon cart, so I'll probably be ordering it shortly. Caspar Baylock, don't tell me I missed you replying to my question. I think I did. I'm not sure. Might have to go back. I don't remember exactly. I went through a lot of it. You'll have to watch the show when it's done. Nobody says you did. Okay, there we go. From Blackbird's Wrath, it's kind of hard to go wrong with anything David Coverdale. I agree. He's my guy, man. Caspar Baylock says, I need a beer. Yeah, it's a little early for a beer. It's 12:58 here in New York, but a little H2O, a little water. Oh, that was good. From Mark Llewellyn, loving the Budgie t-shirt, watching from South Wales now. Keep up the great work. Wow, we got people from Wales. Awesome. So, sorry, South Wales. Want to get that correct. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it. Yeah, the Budgie shirt. I got 3 of them. I have a Never Turn Your Back on a Friend shirt as well. I love Budgie. Big fan. Tate Fantasy and I think I like the Return to Fantasy album better, but I dig them both. High and Mighty's cool too. I think Return is a little stronger, top to bottom, but High and Mighty's got some good tunes on it, and it's got John Wetton on it, right? Let's see. From Gear Lad, Tangerine Dream did the soundtrack to 3 O'Clock High. They did a lot of stuff, man. Alan Wybrow, hey Pete, love you. Budgie t-shirt, cool. Nobody Return to Fantasy for me. Let's see. From Jerry C, yeah, the half-ass Woodstock in the 90s was nothing more than a money grab. Yeah, I agree. From Didge Macadidio, what are your thoughts on the band Sweet? Dude, I love them. I just did a Sweet top 10 song show like a month ago. Go check it out. I dig Sweet a lot. From Thunderstrucks, hey Pete, I've been playing the new Opeth and new Live Toto album a lot lately. Any thoughts on those? It's great you asked, because I'm actually going to do a review here on YouTube and on the website of the new Opeth album this week. All right, I just need to listen to it more. I want to listen to it twice. I actually just posted a review on the website this morning of the new Live Toto CD set, the 2-disc set. I didn't get the DVD Blu-ray, and you'll be seeing a review here on YouTube also over the next probably day or two. The Toto is great. I listened to it all morning. It's great. Loved it. I'm a big Toto fan. Just love them to death. From Blackbird's Wrath, the current garbage we call modern music acts didn't deserve to play on the same festival as the original Woodstock act. Yeah, you know what? I agree with you. Marvin Battle, hey Pete, checking from Southern California. What's going on, Marvin? Darren Holder, cool bandolier shirt. Thank you, my friend. From Peter Kier, hey Pete, huge fan here. Apologies if you've answered this, but I was wondering if you've had a chance to listen to the Tool's long-awaited album. If so, what are your thoughts? Do go on the website. I reviewed it on the website. I haven't reviewed it on here because, as you know, when I review new albums on here, I like to at least have a copy to show. And other than that really expensive, whatever it is they put out, that limited edition thing, there's no CD actually. There's no CD release yet. So I'm kind of waiting. But there is a full review. I dig it. It's a good album. You know, a little long-winded in spots, and I think that's what a lot of people are saying. But it's cool. There's some really cool stuff, some cool riffs on there. I like the vibe of the whole thing. There's a lot of nice grooves on there. So as soon as they release, and hopefully they do, a CD copy of it, I will actually do a full review here on the YouTube channel, so I can kind of show it off and all that kind of stuff. If they don't, well, we'll see. But go on the website, seatranquility.org, check it out. Where do I leave off? BM Bolt, my wife thinks you should bring your wife on to talk about being married to someone who lives and breathes music that isn't very popular. Yeah, I'm trying to talk her into it. I am trying to talk my wife and my mother into coming on the show, guys. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm working on it. From Silas Hollis, have you ever listened to the And Justice for All remix on YouTube called And Justice for Jason? I have not. Is it any good? You know what? I mean, yeah, granted, I know that there's a certain lack of bass on that album, but I dig that album a lot. That album is so fucking heavy. It's massive. I've always been a big fan of that album, with or without the bass. I just dig it. But no, I'll go check that out. Il Basso della Morte, just watched your Stinker Albums video this morning. What are your thoughts on my most hated album? Yes, Tales from Topographic Oceans. I mean, I dig it. I don't reach for it that often, though. For me, I find Tales a little bit on the bloated side, but it's got some amazing musical passages on it. You know, I think that album might have been better with a little trimming, but there's stuff on there that's some of the best that Yes ever did, and I think that's got some of Steve Howe's best playing ever on any album. So I dig it. It's not one of my favorites by them, but I dig it. From Kim Omaki, hi, just finished listening to Whipping Post. God, you gotta listen to Whipping Post, man. It's epic. From Superstar Metal, hey Pete, what is your favorite song by Bruce Dickinson? Favorite song, Tears of the Dragon. I dig it. I like a lot of the Dickinson solo stuff. Really, really good. Marvin Battle Jr. Is Europe 72 or Live Dead going to be included in the Live Wars? I'm not going to tell you, but you are going to get a Grateful Dead in the Live Album Wars coming up soon. I will tell you it's not going to be Live Dead. Okay, that I will tell you, because I've actually used that one before we were doing these official kind of, and I see the sun is coming down here. Let me lean back. Before I was doing these official videos for the Live Album War, and so many people told me that Live Dead is not even close to being their best live album. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to use it when I officially do these shows. So not doing it. But of course, since then, I've had other people say, oh, but Live Dead is great. I dig it. I know it's great, but I've kind of already gone that route, so I'm going to pick another one. Hey, Scott Leoski, what's going on? Yeah, I'm doing it live stream, Headless Cross. Yeah, Forbidden does have its moments, but overall, not very good. From Sean Scott, hey, Pete, how are you, sir? I am good. I wanted to thank you for giving me all the rock and roll insight when it comes to all the genres of rock and roll. I happened to Facebook Messenger about my Spotify playlist. Yeah, I don't use Spotify, so that's kind of lost on me. I don't have a Spotify account. I've got thousands and thousands of CDs. That's my Spotify. From Black Betty, breaking the law. All righty. Not a favorite song of mine. It's probably my least favorite Judas Priest song. From Sean Scott again. When it comes to the unknown rock bands and prog rock bands, oh my God, they're awesome. Cool. Black Betty, Killed by Death. Bruce Metcalf. Sorry. Do you like David Sylvan, particularly with Robert Fripp? I've never listened to any of it, sir. Sorry. From Johnny Topside, God bless you. Thank you. What else? Love the Budgie shirt. I have to check them out. You do. Sean, if you have not listened to Budgie, you need to. I'm going to slide over a little bit here because that sun is getting in my, it's like, there we go. All right. Yeah, I'm going to do, yeah, it's following me around. So, it's that time of day. Let's do this. I am going to move up a little bit. If the chair will, there we go. All right. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to lean in a little bit. There we go. Hopefully you guys hear me okay. All right. Where do we leave off here? From Reality Sans Illusion. Hi from Wisconsin. What's going on? From New York. Hello. Scott, looks like a beautiful day. It is indeed a beautiful day, Scott. I'm going to record a couple videos today. I'm going to mow my grass and enjoy the rest of the day. I hope to watch some movies. I got to get caught up on some Blu-rays I bought and haven't watched. I still have not watched I've seen them, but I have not watched my Captain Marvel Blu-ray. I have not watched Avengers Endgame. I've got a John Constantine animated Blu-ray I got to watch. I picked up some old Bela Lugosi stuff. I got so much shit I got to watch. I have no time. I've been traveling for work for like 3 weeks in a row. I'm home this week and then I'm back traveling again. I'm like, oh man, it's crazy. Where we leave off here. Leon Spinks from Scott. Yeah. You know what? I like Michael better actually. I was more of a Michael Spinks fan than Leon. Sugar from Blackbird's Wrath, Sugar Ray Leonard and Roberto Duran. Yeah, Duran was cool too. He was kind of a prick, but he was great though. He was great. Tyson Lost It from Scott. Head case. Yeah, he was totally a head case. I like Tommy Morrison. He was a good gutsy fighter, man. He another guy, man. It's like, what happened to him? From Bruce Metcalf. Did you buy the Deep Purple Live in Japan triple CD 1993 compilation best version? I did not. From N Joyce 5464. Will you be buying 50th Beatles Abbey Road? I saw it. When I went to buy the Opeth CD, I went to FYE because I was just happened to be right there. I try to avoid that store, but it's right down the street. So I went there to get the Opeth, and I saw the Abbey Road. And I'm like, do I really need to buy Abbey Road again? I mean, tell me what's on this? Is there something on there that I absolutely need to have? I'm like, how many times am I going to buy these things? It's crazy. What else? What? I lost track here. Where were we? Hello from Cleveland, from Seattle. Have you ever done your top 10 albums of all time? Best wishes from Warwicksville, from Sean Smith. Top 10 albums. I don't know if I've done top 10 albums. I think I've done top 10 songs. I don't know if I've done top 10 albums. Opeth review on the way. Can't wait. Yes, Marvin, it's coming. Black Betty, Africa, Congo. Jerry C., the new Toto. 40 Trips Around the Sun double LP greatest hits album is great too. I just talked about that earlier. It's awesome. I just reviewed it on the website this morning. Fred Hamilton, hey Pete, have you heard new Angel Witch track from upcoming album? I have not heard it yet, but I will be getting that album when it comes out because I'm a big Angel Witch fan. Can't wait. From Brian, new sir, hey Pete, my wife who doesn't care for most of my musical interest and taste but enjoys listening to you. That's cool. She loves animals too and thinks you should show them at some point. Well, I've actually done a show where my youngest husky, Tala. In fact, go into the playlist God, where did I stick it? I don't know where I stuck it, but there's a show. It's like maybe a couple minutes long where Tala's in my lap kind of, and, I introduced her. But yeah, my 3 dogs are awesome. In fact, they're inside right now wanting to come out because they see me out here. What else? From Joe Haynes. Pete, yesterday I was cleaning the garage, blasting my old albums by Amplifier, a criminally underrated band from Manchester, England, kind of heavy space rock. I think you might enjoy them. Cool. I will check them out. Speaking of Tala, there she is. Tala, come here. Come here, babe. Come here. No? Okay. She's back there. From Mr. Orwell, top 10 John Cougar songs. I'm not a fan, man. I like a couple tunes, and that's it. So you won't be seeing that from me. From David Lyon, good album apart from the Ancients. From Time Trip TV, will you do 801 Live? Not sure what that is. Black Betty, let's join us. Where do we go? Jesus, I gotta watch her here. Here we go. From Time Trip TV. If you like art rock like Kate Bush, what do you think of Anja Garbarek, Agnes Obel, and/or Aurora? I'm not much of a Kate Bush fan, so that kind of takes all that out for me. From Joss Dirkstra, will you do a Van de Graaff Vital versus Magma Live comparison? Probably not, because I am not a Magma fan, and I don't own any Magma anymore. So probably not. And I'm not even sure. I own all of the Van de Graaff studio stuff. I don't even know if I have Vital Live. I'd have to check. I'm not sure if I do, but I'm definitely not doing Magma. From Mr. Orwell at Kimomaki, I have Coast to Coast on vinyl. Okay. Magma Live 75 from Time Trip. Nope, not doing any Magma. Sorry, guys. Hold on. From Kevin McGuigan, always hear the same names in the Q&A. As far as questions go, would love to hear what you think of the band New England. I totally dig New England. They were awesome. They were really awesome. I like them a lot. I have those New England albums on CD. That's just good, like kind of like late 70s, early 80s kind of pomp rock with a real proggy touch, kind of like Aviary and stuff like that. Trillion, those type of bands. Love New England. Maybe Angel too, kind of similar. What else? From Rabin777, saw a version of Alcatraz in the UK last night. Graham Bonnet, 72 years of age, propped up on a stool. Still a fun night. Who's the act you saw live the most defied their advanced years? First of all, Graham just announced that he's got to have like back surgery or something. So you might have seen the last show with him, and that's probably why he was sitting on a stool. So I think he's taking time off for that. So who's the act you saw live that most defied their advanced years? Well, I got to say the Stones recently were damn energetic, and I really enjoyed that quite a bit. And they're all getting up there, but Deep Purple, man, still puts on a good show and rocks hard. Trying to think some of the really, really old ones. Jesus, Carl Palmer, man, and his band is mostly younger guys, but he still can crank it out. I don't know. There's a lot of older guys still going out there and doing it well. I mean, Christ, when I saw Black Sabbath, on the last tour a couple of years back, that just like completely slayed me. And those guys are all getting up there. So there's a lot of guys out there who still can do it, right? They're still bringing it. What else we got here? From Sean Scott, Pete, who do you think was the best rock band to perform at the Isle of Wight? I think you mean the classic Isle of Wight, right? Man, the Who were great. I would probably say the Who. That's just for me. That Who performance at the Isle of Wight rivals the Live at Leeds, if not better. That's really good. They were great. Tull were really good. Hendrix had his moments, but that wasn't nearly one of Hendrix's best performances. The Doors were a little kind of weird. It was good, but that was just a little kind of really laid back and sedate. What else? Free were really good. Oh, Rory Gallagher. I mean, Taste were kick-ass at the Isle of Wight. But I would say probably the Who. I think the Who were my favorite from that legendary Isle of Wight show. From Kevin, what's your opinion of Steve Hackett's solo albums? I bought a box set of the first 5, but haven't had a chance to listen to them. I mean, the early ones are great, and some of his more recent ones are killer. So I don't know which ones you got. Maybe it's the early ones, but those first couple are damn good. Voyage of the Acolyte is great. Defector's got good stuff on it. And a lot of those early ones are really good. They're a little spotty, but there's some excellent material on those. From Larry Naletti, Pete, great show. Lennox Lewis fought every top guy, dodged no one. Yeah, no, I forgot to mention him. I like Lennox Lewis a lot. In fact, I remember back when Lennox was champ and you had, God, drawing a blank on his name, the other big heavyweight at the time from New York. Jesus, what was his name? Big dude. He fought Holyfield a couple times. Oh, I'm totally drawing a blank on his name. Anyway, I always liked Lennox Lewis more than him, and I always wanted him to kick his ass because the other guy used to rattle his mouth off all the time, but it never happened. Let's see, where else? Where I got to be honest, don't despise me for it, but I was never a big football, boxing, or baseball enthusiast. I've always been partial towards baseball and NASCAR. That's from Blackbird's Wrath. Yeah, the only sports that I watch, guys, is baseball and boxing. That's it. I occasionally might watch tennis. I am not a football fan. I am not a basketball fan. I am not a soccer fan. God, how boring. Basketball is boring beyond belief. So for me, it's boxing and baseball. That's it. From Kimumaki, he's answering some other questions. From Sean Smith, surely your top 10 albums of all time would be a great listen. I will consider doing that then, Sean, because that would be interesting to put together. That would be interesting. What else? Riddick Bowe. Yeah, that's the guy I was thinking of. Thanks, Daddy Know What Hair. Daddy Know What Where. Yeah, Riddick Bowe. Yeah, Riddick Bowe talked a good game, and he was a good fighter too. But I think he ducked Lennox Lewis. I really did. Let's see what else we got here. Do you know the YouTuber Rush Trader? I do not. If you like what Led Zeppelin, Whitesnake vibe, please check out an album by a band called Westbound. Chaz West on vocals, one of the best hard rock albums I've heard this year. I have not heard of them. Cool. You sound like Howard Stern from Black Betty. I sound like Howard Stern? Really? I don't think I sound like Howard Stern. From Jerry C. Just wanted to also say thank you for all the time, effort, and passion you put into content you post. You're very welcome. This is my pleasure, actually. Do you like any jazz covers of classic rock songs? God. I mean, there's been so many good ones that I've heard. Jesus, I'll have to think about that. I know there's been some really good ones. From Mr. Orwell, this is another stretch, but what about top 10 Bryan Adams songs? Love his stuff from 80 to 91. I mean, the problem is, if I did a top 10 Bryan Adams songs, and I dig Bryan Adams, but it would just be like me regurgitating greatest hits thing, because that's all I have by him. I don't know really any of his deep cuts and all that kind of stuff. From NP, how about a live album battle between two Canterbury bands? God, we'll see. I got to see. You guys got to understand, I've got so many live album battles. I can't do all of them. All right, I can't do all of them. I've got so many already listed in the on my list to do still. So we'll see. I got to think of what Canterbury live albums I even have at this point. From Time Trip TV, what do you think of Claypool Lennon Delirium? It's okay what I've heard. I didn't buy it, but I heard some stuff. It was pretty good. For Reality is an Illusion. Is Journey top 10, Styx top 10, REO Speedwagon top 10 in your upcoming plans? I've already done Journey. I've already done Styx. I have not done REO. Guys, use the playlist. That's why it's there. I have done all of those except for REO Speedwagon. I may get to that at some point. But Journey top 10 songs, Styx top 10 songs, did a long time ago. Pete, from Sean Scott. Pete, I happen to also notice that you've never done any tribute on your show of Eddie Money and Rick Ocasek. Probably just because I'm not huge fans of. I mean, I dig the Cars, I dig some of Eddie Money stuff, but I only own like greatest hits from both of those artists. So it's for me to do a tribute on artists that I don't know a hell of a lot about doesn't make a lot of sense. Usually, I will do tributes to fallen rock stars who have made a big impact on me, and I have something intelligent to say. So for me to come up for 30 seconds and say, I'm sorry to hear that and I am sorry because it's great losses, but I'm not as knowledgeable on either of those guys as I are with a lot of other people. So that's why, if you don't see me doing something like that, that's why. Okay. It's why I didn't do a Tom Petty one either. It's like, I like Tom Petty, but it's like, I don't have anything to say about Tom Petty other than I dig a handful of his songs. Right. And so what else? Pete, do you have any expectations for the new Blue Oyster Cult album announced for next year? From NP, I've got a lot of expectations. It's been a long time coming. I can't wait to hear it. What else? What else we got here? New England and Alcatraz in successful post. Jimmy Waldo and Gary Shea, two legends. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, let me skip ahead here. All right, so Black Betty asks Queen. What about Queen? Love Queen. Where are we? What is your favorite from Black Betty? What is your favorite song from Thin Lizzy? Emerald. Yep, that's it. Love it. From Time Trip TV, will you do the Captain Beyond live in Texas '73? No, because I don't know if that's considered a classic live album. It's good. It's not the greatest recording in the world. I have it. I like it, but I don't know if that qualifies as classic. What else we got here? Something about Portuguese guy here. All right, what else? Is that it? What band would you say best encapsulated the blue collar vibe? Thanks a great deal for Sea of Tranquility and Comic Book Geezers. Cool. For any of you who have not listened to Comic Book Geezers or watched Comic Book Geezers, that's my other YouTube channel. I do it with my buddy Wild Bill. We talk all about classic comics from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. We do mostly old stuff. We both have huge comic book collections, and we just talk and show old comics, man. So if you love hearing about all the old Marvel and DC stuff from the 60s, 70s, and great artists like Jack Kirby and John Buscema and all that kind of stuff, and Thor and Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, the Hulk, Batman, Superman, all kind of that's all we do. So go over to Comic Book Geezers and make sure you subscribe. Tell your friends. All right, where do we leave off? What band would you say best encapsulated the blue collar vibe? I don't doesn't get any more blue collar than that, right? The 70s Springsteen stuff, which I love. That's totally great. From Marvin Battle, I just saw a great Thin Lizzy tribute band. Cool, man. I wish you would have a Thin Lizzy tribute band around here. Darren Holder, CDs, digital is okay, and I have hundreds. What do you think of record collectors? I mean, if you're into it, if you're into vinyl and going back and collecting it, great. I mean, don't get me wrong. I loved vinyl. I had hundreds of vinyl back in the day. Unfortunately, I got rid of them all. And I went total CD, and I haven't looked back. I've got, like 9,000 CDs. I'm not going back to vinyl at this point. It's at first I got no room. The CDs are taking up enough room as it is. But I'm all for people collecting vinyl, man, because vinyl is cool, right? You got to love those. You just got to love it. I mean, that's what I grew up with, right? From NP, what's your favorite Tull era? The rock era from 68 to 71, the prog era from 72 to 74, the folky era from 75 to 79. Any favorite albums from the 80s? I like it all. My favorite albums by Tull are Minstrel in the Gallery, Benefit, Aqualung, Thick as a Brick, Songs from the Woods. So obviously, I like all those eras. I can't pick a favorite. I dig it all. And from the 80s, Crest of a Knave is great. Broadsword is great. I think Stormwatch. That's the last album of the 70s. I love Tull. I'm a big Tull fan. From Larry Naletti, what do you think about the whole backwards masking and satanic messages craze? I think it's ridiculous. I never bothered with any of that kind of stuff. I was just like, God, I just think it was all a big publicity stunt just to get people to listen to stuff, playing albums backwards. Crazy. From Joe Haynes, hey Pete, apologies if I'm not 100% on what you've mentioned over the years. Just want to know your opinion of one of the all-time greats, King's X. Great stream on Sunday. Please keep it up. I will. I'm going to make a note of doing this every week, every Sunday. Probably Sunday is a better day. Maybe Saturday. We'll see. But I'll announce it during the week. As far as King's X, all right. I get asked this question almost. The two bands that I get asked more than any other band by you guys and people that I meet is King's X and Magma. All right. I've already talked ad nauseum about Magma. I don't get Magma. I have tried for like 25 years to get into the music of Magma. I went and bought all their albums on CD. I saw them live. I just don't get it. They don't appeal to me. It's just like, it just drives me crazy. I've got rid of everything I had by Magma. I just tried. Musically, I kind of dig it, but the vocals just drive me crazy, and the monotonous repetition of their music drives me just crazy. I can't listen to them, can't get into them. As far as King's X is one of those bands that I probably should love and should be one of my favorite bands. And so many people that I know who love King's X and know everything else that I like, they're like, I can't believe you don't like King's X. I don't dislike them. I own a few King's X CDs. They just never really clicked with me. Something about Doug's vocals just doesn't appeal to me. I don't know what it is. He's got a soulful voice. I like a lot of other soulful singers, but just any project that I hear, whether it's King's X or what he does with Lynch or what he's done with Eric Gales, I just don't dig his vocals. I don't know what it is. Something about it, and that has kept me from really enjoying King's X's music, which I dig some of their music, right? I don't like all of it, but I dig it. Those early albums are really good. The first couple albums, Gretchen and Dogman and stuff, those are good albums, but I rarely listen to them, and I have a hard time really getting into them. So I don't know what it is. You can't like everybody, right? From Darren Holder, vinyl and comic collecting are very similar. Yeah, they are. Comic collecting is expensive, I tell you, but it's fun. From Kim Umaki, did Dr. Hook and Medicine Show ever make any musical worth? I don't know. Depends on who you ask, right? I never listened to much of them. I like a few Dr. Hook songs, but from Time Trip TV, how about the live half of Umaguma? What about it? It's cool. I dig that album, but it's not a true live album. That's why I haven't featured it. Unfortunately, we don't have an official live album from Pink Floyd from that era, from the early mid 70s. I wish we did. I wish that, you got the Pompeii thing, which is a film. All right. It's not an album. That is awesome. I wish they would have released a live album to go along with that. Okay, or something from that era. Man, could you imagine if we had a live album from like the Wish You Were Here or Animals era or something, or Dark Side of the Moon? Psh, man, be awesome. From Kevin McGuigan, growing up in the New York area, did you ever attend a show in your youth at L'Amour's? I did, long time ago, back in the late 80s, long time ago. I used to go to L'Amour's. I used to go to the Ritz. I used to go to Sundance. I lived at Sundance in Long Island for like years straight. I went to like every show in the summertime or during the year when I was living in Long Island for like a year and a half. I went there all the time. Got blitzkrieg drunk every time. Don't know how I got home, but I went with, either friends or my girlfriend at the time and lived at Sundance. I saw every band that went through there. So that for me was kind of my L'Amour's. I know my city friends went to L'Amour's more than I did. I went to Sundance because all bands they played at the Ritz, L'Amour's, Sundance, they all played those shows, right? They just played one-on-one. So I did more of the Sundance stuff, but I did go to L'Amour's, yes. What else we got here? From Geotech and more. Hey, Pete, have you heard of the Greedy Bastards, a brief band with Thin Lizzy and the Sex Pistols? I have heard, never listened, though. What else? Did you ever visit the original World Trade Center? Yeah. I mean, I've lived in New York my whole life, so I actually went all the way to the top of the World Trade Center when I was a kid. From Mr. Orwell, what's your opinion on AOR, the 80s corporate super produced melodic rock? I dig it. There's a lot of good bands that kind of played that style, man. A lot. From NP Pete, never heard you mention Prong. Was listening to Rude Awakening recently, forgot how good the album was. Are you a fan? Nah, not really. They never really did a lot for me. From Time Trip TV, my wife and I are watching and love your honesty. Thank you. I'm a very honest person. From Scott Scotter, did you get into Roy Buchanan? If so, what albums do you like from him? I really dig his live album. And I think the only thing I have, like Angel Air Records released something from him. I forget the name. I think it was the last album he ever did before he died. I have that. And then I have like a Roy Buchanan like box set, which has a lot of his stuff, rare stuff from albums, live stuff. And I like that quite a bit. I've had that for a long time. Great player. He was so good. So good. From Sean Smith, what's your favorite Wasp album? Not a huge Wasp fan. The first album is okay. The Last Command is pretty good. The Electric Circus, the concept album, that's okay. I'm not a big Wasp fan. Saw them live a bunch of times back in the day. I had all those LPs back when I was a kid, but just a lot of planes going overhead today. And a hawk that just flew over too. Very cool. Sometimes we get bald eagles that fly overhead. And I got both of my huskies out here. Maya, come here. Maya, come here. You guys have never met Maya. Maya, come here. This is my older husky. No, she's not going to come. You're not going to be able to see her. Maya, hold on a second. Maya, say hi to the camera, babe. There she is. There's my beauty queen. That's my girl. There's my girl. Say hi, Maya. There she is. There she is. She loves her daddy, too. And then my other one is Tala. She's out over there. You can see her over there. There she is. Those are the two that are out with me right now. They're pretty quiet. The huskies are pretty quiet. I just forgot what the question was. I forgot what the question was. All right, we got them. They're coming in fast and furious. From Marvin Battle, Pete got me into Uriah Heep. Everybody should be into Uriah Heep. Come on. From Sean, Pete, there is one band you finally convinced me to listen to, Gentle Giant, and really dig them, man. Cool. As is the other bands you aired on your show. Thank you, sir. Cool. I still can't believe that Gentle Giant lost the classic album More to Camel. I thought for sure that Gentle Giant was going to beat that. There have been some that I've just been flabbergasted. Gentle Giant lost to Camel. Tokyo Tapes by the Scorpions lost to Rainbow on stage. I did not expect that. And Judas Priest Unleashed in the East lost to Iron Maiden. I was amazed. I did not expect those. Most of the other ones have gone according to what I anticipated. But, man, some of them have just been like, geez, did not expect. What else? Where are we? Pete got me into Crescent. I really dig them. Cool NP. Yeah, Crescent is great. Nice dogs. Yeah, those are both Huskies. So they're Scott. Those are Siberian Huskies. Maya just turned 9. In fact, 2 weeks ago. And my other one out there is she will be 7 in March. She's 6. What else we got here? From Blackbird's Wrath, aside from SOT and comic book geezers, what are your plans for the week? I'll stop bothering now. The questions are coming in furiously. Yeah, they are. My plans for the week are to try and get caught up on work stuff and channel stuff because I have been away traveling for the last 3 weeks. I have a 1 week break here where I'm home, and then I'm away again. I'm in Washington, D.C. for a week. So it's like I'm trying. I got so much to do this week. And I'm trying to help my parents move. I finally got my parents to downsize from the house that I grew up in to move into a smaller apartment a couple towns closer to me. So we're trying to get them moved in and all that kind of stuff. So there's a million things going on, guys. It's crazy. From Sean Smith, please check out the song Traveler by Westbound, Real Stargazer Cashmere Vibe. I'm sure you'll love it. Cool. I'll check that out. Dio, what label are they on? Because I've not heard about Westbound. Let me know what label they're on. Maybe they're not. From Cockney Red, you got me into Trapeze. How the hell did I miss them? Yeah, Trapeze are great, man. Great. From Jerry C. Do your Huskies talk much? Some are pretty vocal. My Husky Ace was. Sadly, I had to put her down 6-7 years ago. I'm really sorry about that. Yeah, they're great dogs. The younger one, Tala, quite a lot on this. He does a little bit, but Tala talks all day long. She talks more than I do. So she'd be one of those nonstop talker human beings if she could actually talk. She just never stops. What else we got here? From Millifred13, you got me into Sons of Apollo. Great album. Yeah, that album kills. That was my favorite album of 2018, man. I love it. Can't wait for the next one. From Horse Boar, hi Pete, love your channel. Rock on from South Africa. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Keep watching. And remember, guys, everybody. Here's I have some homework for everybody. Everybody needs to recommend Sea of Tranquility to at least one or two of their friends who are currently not watching. Because if everybody recommends and we get one more additional subscriber from everybody who watches, we're going to double our viewership and our subscribers in a very short period of time. So anybody you know who listens to the kind of music we cover here, or is just interested in hearing someone talk about music that, maybe so they can discover something new, please recommend us to them, because I want to hit that 20,000 subscriber mark sooner rather than later. We're almost at 10. All right. I want to double that. We have just so you guys know, in June, the end of June of 2018, we hit 1,000 subscribers. We are now almost at 10 in a little over a year later. That's pretty damn good. So I want that 20,000 way quicker. So we got to get there. What else? From NP, sorry, Pete, Iron Maiden and Rainbow deserved it. Well, I know. I mean, hey, we all like what we like, right? I just didn't think it was going to happen because Unleashed in the East is like one of the most famous and respected albums of all time. And I just didn't think Live After Death had it to compete. I really didn't think so. But that just goes to show you the power and popularity of Iron Maiden. Okay. And it's a great live album. I'm not knocking it. All right. I know everybody likes things differently, and that's cool. That's what we're all about. And I love the Rainbow album. I really thought Tokyo Tapes was going to take it, though. Okay. Because I think Tokyo Tapes is a masterpiece. But hey, you know what? It's good to be surprised. You can't always have what you expect, right? Expect the unexpected. And we've seen that in these live album wars, I think. So, pretty cool. So Westbound are on Frontiers. Really? Because I get all the Frontiers stuff. I got to check. You know what? I'm so way behind in reviewing stuff. So way behind. I've got to check. I got to look into that. Yeah, Frontiers has a ton of great releases. And I love so many of the bands on there. All right, I will check that out. As soon as I get off this, I'm going to check that out. What else we got here? From Cockney Red, what are your thoughts on Danko Jones? They're okay. I'm not huge into them. They're all right. Not big into them. What else we got? I think that we are caught up now. Cool. All right, guys. I think we are going to. Oh wait, we got more. Do we got more? Is that it? Oh yeah, we do got more. No, let's see. No, that's everything? Yeah, we got another from Geotech and More, The Greedy Bastards, A Merry Jingle. If you get a chance, folks, here on YouTube. Cool. All right, guys, we're going to end it now. We're just at about an hour. That was a fun hour. That went quick. So hope you guys enjoyed this format. Remember, don't put the comments don't put your questions in the comments anymore. We're going to do these live going forward. All right. So remember, if we're going to do a live format, you got to keep the questions short and sweet. All right. Because they just come in fast and furious. I think I did a pretty good job today going through a lot of them. So we'll do these live from now on the weekends, as long as I'm around. Next week, I think because I'm leaving on Sunday to go to Washington, D.C., we'll have to do it on Saturday at some point, probably Saturday morning. So I'll put out an announcement, a quick little video during the week, then I'll put it on the Facebook page just to announce what time, so you guys know ahead of time. Then you'll get an email when I'm live, and we'll be good to go. All right. So this is on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Of course, we're on YouTube often. But you know what? Don't go away. You know why? Because I've got a classic album war coming up momentarily between these two guys. All right. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see you real soon. Take care, guys. Thanks, everybody, for your time. I appreciate it. Have a good weekend. All right. Take care.